welcome to the interior design continuing. Oh, actually, I'm going to start again because it's gone on to transcribe. So scrub. I can cut this bit out. Okay, so deep breath. Welcome to the Interior Design Talking Head series, and with me today I have Hollie Milne, who's one of our recent graduates. And she was also shortlisted for award at the recent Interior Educators as well. And Hollie is particularly interested in interior architecture and community design. And I'm going to hand you over to Hollie, who's going to take us through her wonderful project. Hollie, the floor is yours.
Hi, Jean. So as Jean kind of mentioned, I got really interested in kind of social sustainability and socially activated design, and particularly in third year was, encouraged to kind of focus on that. So my final project was called the Bottle Top Project. It was a site in Newlyn. It was a disused bottle top factory, hence the name. And it had been kind of empty since 2006. So my project was all about kind of how to bring this back into use for the community, focusing on rural homelessness in Cornwall, caused by the current housing crisis. So we kind of land on the sort of hero image of the whole site and how I developed it. And the concept really was kind of this lighthouse kind of theme, and how that could kind of be a symbol of hope for the rurally homeless. And this kind of landmark within Newlyn, which is a harbour town in Cornwall, which just seemed quite fitting. So yeah, kind of going into the stats, kind of started with what the problem is, and how I was going to tackle that. So kind of touching on the lighthouse again, how this could be a beacon of hope for the rurally homeless. And you can kind of see I was working through my kind of thinking with these sketches, and how I could adapt this kind of old warehouse building into this new landmark for Newlyn and this kind of lookout point, so that the community could have these sea views, which typically in Cornwall tends to be for millionaires. So it was all about giving back to the community essentially. So the brief was how to transform this unloved and disused site into a housing crisis hub. And how I was going to alleviate the stress and trauma of kind of forced homelessness due to properties kind of being given up for Airbnb and that kind of thing. So concept narrative, this is always really handy when you begin a project, to kind of visually try and explain what you're trying to kind of deliver within your design. So it was all about site memory. It was all about the users being able to make their own mark, kind of using this graffiti that was already there, but then the new users adding to that. Kind of empowerment, a sense of belonging, play. My user was all kind of based around families with children, and how to give kind of shelter and freedom to people that didn't currently have it. So yeah, kind of looking into the social and historical context within the site, what was around it, what were the landmarks that are already there, what was the culture in Newlyn. It's very artistic. It's also got a fishing harbour there, which is still active today. So kind of thinking about that and how I could tie that into the design was really important. And then you've got the original plans here. You can kind of see it's like this kind of compound of 5 different buildings. So really getting my head around the site, kind of physical models are great for this. And I did that, and it really helped me because, as you can see, it's kind of a mishmash and kind of, weird kind of add-ons and lean-to. So yeah, kind of getting that focus first before you start proposing anything new is really important. Site analysis, I went into quite a lot of detail with this, but I think that was quite important. So looking at the prevailing wind, where would people typically want to hang out in this kind of centralised courtyard where the buildings were kind of organised around, and also kind of looking at weather and climate. Obviously, it's kind of up on a hill, it was quite exposed. So just making sure that I was kind of appreciating all this when kind of proposing my design. Again, site analysis, site diagrams, really important. So this is sort of currently what's there, kind of thinking quite deeply about, how I'm going to adapt this and how I can work with what's already there, kind of doing the least but having the most effect. And then the materiality of the site. So I had these photos. I was very lucky to have these site photos, and I really kind of explored materiality of the site through these and kind of made these collages. And it started getting me thinking about the materials that are already there and how this could be part of the storytelling of the original site, and how I could recycle these. And looking at case studies is always really important, how you can kind of pull this into your own kind of thinking. So again, starting to put together like material palettes from what's already there. You can kind of see how that kind of relates to the collages that I was making. And then this is another kind of strategy diagram. So we're kind of going into the strategy of what I'm going to do. So this was kind of all about lifting this building, this old warehouse, you know, kind of figuratively and also, you know, for the user, and giving them this new. So you can kind of see how my strategy then turned into the design. So it's had that lift, but it's kind of still maintaining that warehouse shape. And you've got these wonderful views all over kind of Newlyn Harbour for the new user. So yeah, strategy again, this is kind of selective demolition. This is what I was taking away. And you can kind of see my thinking drawings and process in the bottom right corner. And then again, more strategy. It was kind of, it became about recycling the building, being as sustainable as I can. So kind of reusing this metal frame, these steel supports, and kind of, you know, in a dynamic way, how I could kind of create something new out of it. And then you can kind of see the steel frame. This is a visual kind of explaining how that got reused. And you can kind of see the kids climbing on it and then lighting getting hung from it. So yeah, this is a site plan. So this is a kind of finished design. You can kind of see the new buildings and you've got a queue on the side there. So you've got parking. I ended up creating a laundrette, a shower block. You then got a winter garden. You've got accommodation for families, and they're all kind of uniquely set out dependent on those family needs. You've got a greenhouse, you've got a community centre, communal kitchen, and a computer suite just for like kids to do homework and that kind of thing, a food bank and a clothes bank on the ground floor. And then a user journey, and these are really helpful to kind of help you decide, you know, what is your user doing within the building, and it actually helps your thinking as to how you go into planning. So I kind of chose to do collages for this, and it kind of just suited the way that I was kind of working through with my process. So kind of starting at the beginning, you've got a little boy, he arrives, what's he going to be doing there? And then you can kind of see the winter garden, which is a playground for the kids to enjoy. A visual kind of showing it in full swing, and a little site key, which really helps kind of explain where my user is and what they're doing. Again, this is a different view of the winter garden. And then you've got another user journey for an older user. This is someone that lives in a van, so she's not living on the site, but she accesses the facilities there. So again, just really visually explaining, you know, what she's doing and what she can do on the site. This is a laundrette plan and section. And then a visual kind of explaining, you can kind of see all the finishes there and the way I've recycled this kind of red piping. Another user journey for someone that volunteers there. So it's kind of thinking about different types of users and what they might be doing within your design. And then this is kind of the outdoor eating area. It kind of visually explains, you know, a different view of the site and what a user might be doing there. So you can kind of see the winter garden in the background and people kind of enjoying the communal cooking and eating. The accommodation blocks. So this is a plan. You can kind of see that I've adapted each unit to a specific type of family. So you've got a mother and son and daughter. You might have a single mother in another unit, and then you've got an accessible apartment at the bottom there. So master movable, this is kind of getting into materiality now. I kind of gave myself the challenge that everything that I was going to furnish the site with was going to be secondhand, locally sourced off a Facebook marketplace, or it was going to be materials that I'd found on site via a site audit. So this is kind of visually giving you a real idea of, you know, the kind of look and feel of my site. Again, this is kind of going into a bit more detail with one of the apartments, how that might look, and how I've sourced these bits of furniture and materials. And then this is a bottle top lighthouse plan. So this is my big architectural move, and you can kind of see what's going on each floor. You've got the food bank, as I've already said, for the clothes bank, and then you've got a medical examination room. And then on the top floor, you've got a library. And then as you're working your way up, you've got these kind of little balconies that you pop out of. And this is a technical detail of how that balcony will work, the cantilever and the kind of material finishes within as well. And then this is just kind of a long and short section of inside the lighthouse. And you can kind of see it in full swing and the types of activities that are going to be in there. You've got the kind of original graffiti left over from the factory workers. So you're getting a sense of the storytelling and the kind of narrative as well. This is a visual of the food bank. Again, you've got the site key, so it kind of tells you where you are on the site, because there's so many different buildings, it could have got a bit confusing. And again, just visually kind of expressing what's going on and what my user is doing there. And then just kind of concluding on a kind of narrative board of what I've achieved and how I've kind of answered the brief, really. So it's gather and be together, it's how to nourish, self-sufficient community, freedom and play, the different amenities there, and site and collective memory. So hopefully that kind of concludes the project. And back to you, Jean.
Oh, that was brilliant. Thank you so much, Hollie. 3 months work condensed into 5 minutes. You've done really well. I just had two really quick questions just to finish with. I mean, what's the thing that you most enjoyed about being at Falmouth?
I think we get a lot of freedom, I think, and I think we're really encouraged to kind of carve our own style, our own path. I think the research that all the academics undertake is top notch. So whatever direction you're going in, you'll always be given a kind of suggestion of a book or a case study, and it kind of just excites you and gets you really inspired even more. So I think that's been really enjoyable. It's a very creative university, so even if you're not in the interior design studio, you can there's a real buzz around the place. So just being on campus is really enjoyable, and the facilities are great. So it doesn't matter what interest you kind of find yourself in, you're always supported within that decision.
Brilliant. And finally, my last question, Hollie, would be, what advice would you give to anybody who's thinking about, putting an application to study an interior design or interior architecture course?
I'm a mature student, and I think it's never too late. I think if you've got this passion, come and see what it's all about, come and meet the team, come and look around the studio. And I think it would be the same for me. As soon as I came on that open day, I was just so excited to begin. And I think, you won't regret it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hollie. Appreciate all your time. I know you're a very busy lady with your new job. Congratulations and well done.
Thanks, Jean.